Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Welcome, everybody. I am very excited. We have never done this before. We have a three-way podcast here with two of my favorites. Ken Hardison with the law firm Grow podcast. We have Alex Valencia from the We Do Marketing Hour. It is great to have you both here. We're traveling the country to all these great thought leadership forums, and all we hear about is AI. Yeah. And it is clearly here. I think it's one of those moments that, what the cab industry thought when Uber came. Well, it's going to be different. We don't know how, but I think the landscape in a couple of years will be significantly different. Ken, I know you've been giving a lot of thought to this, and you speak to lawyers from around the country. How are you seeing AI impact things short term, and where do you think we're going? That's what we'll be talking about here for our time together.
Yeah, I think short term, you're going to see lawyers trying to figure out how to use it for marketing. But I think long term, it's going to be used in every aspect of the business, in the management of the files, in contacting clients, in doing demands, and in litigation, handling discovery, depot prep. I mean, it's just so many ways it's going to be used. And my fear is that a lot of lawyers are going to stick their head in the sand, like they did when the website stuff came out, and the ones that took advantage of it killed it for years, and then it took the other ones years to catch up. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, but I think it's the biggest thing since the printing press. I mean, it's
huge. It's definitely huge.
We've heard this before, right? We saw this in the metaverse, where we're all going to be having law firms there. And I kind of took a little bit of a back step. I was weird. Like, I didn't see people going there. I was going to wait to that. Peter Shankman, who'll be speaking at the Super Summit, he had places there for the last 10 years, bought all of Times Square in one of these places. To me, the question is, we are already using AI. Right? It's already auto-filling our suggestions on Google. It's already being used by Google to figure out what you want. Alex, content's sort of the epicenter of the AI explosion given ChatGPT. And you and I have talked about this before, but talk to me about, you're an innovative company. We've talked already about the fact that this is not stop writing content, use ChatGPT, but how are you guys leveraging AI within a content first environment?
So we're still looking at it from the perspective of HI as opposed to AI, like human intelligence as opposed to fully artificial intelligence, but we are using and embracing it, right? Just like you said, we don't want to be the taxi cabs to Uber. We don't want to be the Blockbuster to Netflix. And I don't feel like that's the situation. I think there's still a lot of work there. We're experimenting. We put a whole team aside of associate editors and senior editors just to work on the AI. So we're really trying to figure out the prompts on how it really understands. I think the goal here is for anyone and future employees for people in any industry is, how do you learn to manipulate this and learn how to speak to it as in prompts? So when we started back in the internet, back in '99, remember when you had to do a search, it was hashtag something or quotes something, right? To prompt Google to give you the exact information you have, and eventually became smarter and smarter and smarter. And you didn't have to use those prompts. We just went directly into keywords. So I think we're going in the same way, is how do I talk to this robot to give me the information I want? It's still too early to have all of the information that's out in the internet. One of the biggest databases that it pulls from is Reddit, right? How much BS information is on Reddit and how much good is on there, right? And that's the issue.
But if that's, that's a pretty, and look, we saw stuff where
it's good info though. It's great.
Didn't even know what, there are points where, depending on its inventory of information, it didn't know what COVID was, because if it wasn't 2020, it was 2019 and before, it wouldn't even have it. Obviously that will catch up over time. One of the things I find fascinating, having spoken to some of the inner people at Google, right? Because Google's not first mover on this. It's an unusual place for us in the last 20 years where Google is not first and foremost. In fact, they've kind of laid an egg. I have no doubt it'll catch up. But Bing, and with their investment, has sort of jumped everybody else. What are your thoughts, given that we have been in a Google first environment? I mean, Ken's entire ecosystem of law firms and marketers has been Google first. All of a sudden, Microsoft comes in with a differentiator. Is that something that will hold, or is this something that is, hey, they got there first, but everybody else will catch up soon?
I think it's a catch-up game. I think I think Microsoft Bing is still one of those where you look at it and you're like, is that really going to be my first search spot? I think what I've seen already, even at our latest conference or any conversation with lawyers that are using it, right? Because that's the world we're in. We're in the legal world, whether it's us marketers or lawyers within that whole space, is just using the app for fun, right? Right now, people are like, hey, how can I send an amazing text message, create a stupid song? Or some of the really smart attorneys are like, how can I get this to create a demand letter? Right? How can I use it for that? And like Ken touched on, is I think a lot of them are looking at it, how can I use for marketing? Amazing for emails. Why spend time trying to generate an intelligent email, right? Even from a marketer standpoint, like, what do I want to say to this guy? This is who I'm speaking to. This is what I want to say. Do it. So I wrote my own and put the information prompts from ChatGPT. It wasn't exactly how I would have said it, but then I told it, combine mine and this one, and it was fucking amazing. Like, it was,
and
great.
That's what I'm Ken. That's what I'm chomping at the bit for. One of the things that BluShark did and Price Benowitz did early on was trying to get verbiage directly from lawyers. And it's a process, right? You get it, you got to transcribe it. We didn't at the time find a transcription service that was good enough. AI is getting better and better. And then the idea is, if you can take rougher content as opposed, and get help cleaning it up to the point where the underlying bones are the intelligence of the lawyers, and that you then could produce their words. Because if you just took their words without cleaning it up, and the cleanup cost could exceed the cost of producing content through an Alex or others, then you're at a point where, okay, I can start getting the words of a Ken Hardison out of him and onto the web page in a crawlable format. To me, that's a short-term game changer that we're working on. I can't tell you it's fully there, but it's out there. Whether or not we harness it right's the next question.
Yeah.
Ken, what are you thinking?
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, everybody talks about ChatGPT-4 and all that, but there's so many other apps out there. Lavender helps you with emails. Then you got, the Dolly, which is still in its infancy and still got some bugs in it. But like, here's something I'm doing right now. I mean, we've gone out and we're finding a company, and I'm going to get in front of a camera for about 15, 20 minutes and read a bunch of scripts and do the certain mannerisms. They're creating an avatar for me. So it'll be me, but it's not me. Okay. It'll be, I'm going to really want to explore and play with it and test it on, like, even social media. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just do a bunch of social media that looks like me, but it's not me? And I don't have to worry about.
Well, that's your dream. I mean, Ken, if you could just be sitting in Key West.
Yes. That's my lifestyle. I told him, I said, I got to have it before Summit, because I'm gonna show it to everybody down there. This is what you can do. And if it's good, then it's good. If it's not good, then they can see. But I really, and for $2,000 a year, I can get 40 minutes of video a month. I mean, we went out and searched, my people went out and searched everywhere. No, I think it's a game changer. I mean, I do, but I think that I feel like we're just in, like what Alex was saying, we're just in the infancy of it, where it's going to just get, and then I think there's ways we're going to use it that nobody's even thought about. I mean, I really do. I think it's going to go faster. I mean, you look at it, over 100 million users in less than 3 months. That's the difference between that and the metaverse. and nobody's Microsoft didn't put $10 billion in the metaverse. I can tell you that. That's why,
to be fair, Facebook did. Facebook did. People did put money there. But as you're saying, there weren't 100 million people playing it.
Yeah, and that fast. I mean, it's going so fast.
Well, let me ask you, we got a PILMA Super Summit coming up. Very excited. Back in New Orleans, beautiful venue. It sounds like you have this, you're going to have a fair amount with talking about AI, ChatGPT, et cetera. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, we got it's May 16th through the 18th down in the Ritz-Carlton. We got room block, really reasonable rooms. I think they're less than, I don't even know what they are, but I know they're like half price of what you usually get them for. And we got the whole hotel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we booked the whole hotel. Nobody else is going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, and we expect to sell out. We got about 50 vendors there. We limit it to 50. But yeah, we got one of your good friends, Seth, Peter Shankman, who is a futurist, who is a guy that sees things before they happen. Great marketer. We've got Cameron. What's his last name? You know it better.
Cameron
Harold.
Oh yeah. I didn't know he was coming.
Yeah. He's going to be speaking, and
you know what he does in addition. I hate to take it away from the AI theme, but what I think he's genius. Obviously, the COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and not only is he a great coach, but he has a thing that's not law firm specific at all. But I think everybody in the law firm space is dancing around this space, and a lot of people are trying to crack the code of how do you get not just the leader of the law firm, but the guy behind the scenes or the girl behind the scenes, the COO, and he has a mastermind of COOs that I think is just genius.
Yeah, he's got a program called Second in Command.
Exactly. So the BluShark Second in Command is at that.
Yeah, my CEO is doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he can teach you more than I can for sure. But
and frankly, they teach each other as well. It's a pretty big brain trust. And again, I'm digressing, but since we have time and we're amongst friends, one of the things that I have seen is I've done some higher level coaching. I got one program, a CEO Coaching International, which is like guys are make everybody in the PILMA world look like tiny players. These are guys like 8-9 figure businesses selling left and right. Like it's a different animal. But whenever they give vendor recommendations, I find them generally, I won't say off is too strong a term, but not appropriate for what we're doing in life. And that I'm sure they help some people, but they're either very expensive or very niche. And that what I really liked about the COO Alliance is it was bringing people, like-minded people together, and like who solved your problems on payroll and benefits and things that are fundamental to getting through the day that aren't for the hoity-toity, but like actually have proven results to existing firms. And that's been I think the greatest benefit is that we're getting partners in the space, both for BluShark and for Price Benowitz, that normally I just can't get to. You see them mentioned at Tony Robbins, and you think about the kickbacks that are going through these big organizations, and instead. So I digress, but I think that's one of the huge benefits of Cameron's organization.
Yeah, and like as far as AI, we got Tanner Jones going to be talking about ChatGPT and how it can be used in marketing. Also have Justin Lovey, who's in one of my masterminds, who is just a brilliant lawyer, but I think even more brilliant marketer. And he's always
we're gonna make sure it's a husband and wife presentation. We're gonna get to hear from her as well.
I don't know.
He's the secret sauce back there.
Yeah. Miss Lawrence, Amy Lawrence. Yeah, it's so he's using it a lot already, and so he's going to bring practical stuff that he's doing with ChatGPT and some other AI apps that he's trying to really, we go back, and I do want to say this, what Alex was saying. All this AI is not going to replace people, but here's what it's going to do. It's going to make it where you can get as much work with 10 people with one person. Well, 10 times more work, maybe in 5 years, 100 times more productivity than out of one person than you did before. I just see it as a game changer. And with PI overheads going up and up, You know what I'm saying? And everybody's staying at a third or 40%. You've got to figure out some way, or don't your margins are going down. And I think this is the answer. I mean, one of them's been outsourcing overseas, but I really think, and we'll have somebody talking about that too at the deal at the summit.
Yeah, who's speaking on that at the summit?
The guy LegalSoft Solutions. What, I can't remember his name.
LegalSoft, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be talking. They're one of our sponsors.
And look, I got to think it's going to be a combination of all, right? So we see domestic costs, and Alex, myself, on each independently on podcast talked about the cost of labor. And it's not that we're getting rid of domestic labor, right? But anything we can do that allows us to keep the precious people we have, whether it be leveraging international and or AI, or
both,
meaning together. Then all of a sudden we are in a position, Alex, I don't know how much you guys have used international, but just want to get your thoughts on the intersection of layering, domestic labor, international labor, and AI in order to try to sort of make sure that you're getting stuff done at the most competitive price point. Because I know your world, and your world is about, getting people value to feed the Google beast at a cost-effective rate. How have you done that?
So I've got a partnership with, actually we're probably going to launch, and this is between friends, but it's eventually going to be live too, starting a whole Spanish side marketing. So I have a whole company and a gentleman that I've been working with for 5 years now that produces all of my SEO Spanish content. Together, he and I are, it's going to actually reduce my cost significantly by partnering with him and marketing that side of it. But he also does radio, TV, SEO. But I've been purchasing my Spanish content and working directly with him and my editors and my team. So we built our own internal team. I think we're going to go live with it, where we go full Spanish soon. But that was a great way for us to leverage costs, using that outsource from Colombia and Mexico, mostly Mexico. Where it was using those international labor for that. So that, I think that was a great opportunity for us. The English, you remember when we started this, Ken, I've known you since probably 2010, and Seth early on. I remember I was able to get content like a 500-word page for $19, right? And then it would come inside in-house, and then we would spend like $50 on it, right? So then we would be spending, selling it for a certain amount. Now the cost of content skyrocketing, which is why the AI comes in. I think the human intelligence is still important, but if there's a way to incorporate the AI eventually to where it gets it to the right place. And you nailed it, Seth, when you said, can we get the language of the attorney, which is what we've been doing with our software and creating our own internal client profiles for every client that we manage. Right. Is we have their database, their client profile, the words they want to use, the words that they don't want to use, all in our own internal AI before AI came out, for us to create content for them. I think it's just going to enhance it all, right? Hopefully, I don't think it'll reduce costs significantly because of the AI. I think I'm not so
sure. I think once we figure it out, not that it's just going to be, and look, who knows what it will reduce for everybody eventually. But I'll give you an example. I'm curious because, Ken, one of the reasons I went first overseas during the pandemic, where I went and now have 35, 40 people, employees for both Price Benowitz and BluShark in Latin America on top of a full domestic team, was that I was paying this huge premium for bilingual labor in the DMV, right? And the question whether you're Spanish English or English Spanish shouldn't matter. But this has been something, and Alex and I Ken, I'm sure your clients or partner law firms that are part of PILMA have struggled with, is I can't tell you over the years when I hired somebody to write this, even before BluShark, hired somebody to write a page in Spanish, and they were all excited, and I had it edited, and it was great. And people are like, oh yeah, that's good if you live in Colombia, but it's no good for Mexico. And these are the things where theoretically I would hope that AI is going to take us where a page of content could be individualized, where you now could speak directly to a particular population without having to write a brand new piece of content for each one. That's sort of the types of thing where you could get it to give you nuance that you're not I don't speak Spanish, so I couldn't do this myself. But if nothing else, be a checks and balances to know the different, nuances between the different forms of Spanish that are out there. What are your thoughts?
That'd be brilliant, because Colombia alone has like 7 dialects within the whole country, right? Like,
right.
So even that, so it's like you prompt it and say, turn this into how someone from Medellin would speak. If it could do that,
or better yet, you get somebody from wherever, Mexico, right, or whatever. Can you turn this in? How can you sanitize it to get rid of those local nuances so that you could have which is what's considered universal, like Barcelona Spanish?
No, that would be too.
No, so what's like, how can you strip it of everything? I mean, Ken, you've seen people, and had a lot of people come to Pilma pitching Spanish specific marketing, for example. Yeah. We want to get your thoughts, because as excited as we are, we've also seen a lot of people come with not ready for prime time products that sold them and crashed and burned. How many, if we had invested in every single person doing geofencing from the beginning of time, we would have wasted a lot of money, right? So how do you advise a law firm that wants to get and leverage this new technology without getting burnt, that they're getting something because it sounds like the shiny object that they should buy?
Yeah, and that's what you got to work out there. There's going to be a lot of people out there, hucksters. Yeah, what I would do, this is what I think, and I'm looking into right now. I think every law firm should invest in a prompt engineer for AI. So Alex, you use that word a lot today. And that is the key to AI, is knowing how to ask the questions. It's if you know how to ask the question, and that's prompts, if you know how to write the prompts, and you know your field, and you know how to write the prompts, then you're a gold mine. I mean, listen, you can name your price. I really believe that to start with. If you're good, I mean, I looked up something. They said prompt engineers, 160, 180,000 a year.
Already? Wow. Oh, there's someone already marketing themselves as that.
Well, but to be fair,
so I have someone. We have a personal friend.
Nobody else is raising their hand on that.
Right. So, nobody's raising, but it's very brand new. Like you didn't just become a prompt engineer in the last 2 months, right? Since this is
actually, I think sadly, I'll play the other side of that out. I think a lot of people did just become a prompt engineer, because
we have a personal
2 months ago, a
friend,
prompt engineer was worth.
Who's doing that exactly, and he's doing it for us. So we didn't hire him full time, right, but he's doing, like, he'll be doing a whole prompt training for us, but he still hasn't got it. Like, my internal content guy is not allowing any of that content to come through, no matter how much he keeps manipulating it and putting in the prompts, because it's still not good enough for legal. It's not. He did it for mortgages, he did it for like landscaping, he did it for my brother's business, but it's not there for legal. We know our clients. I know my lawyers. And I think eventually, once we crack the code on it, I'm going to sell a tier, an AI tier, but my premium tier is still going to be human intelligence, because you got to know the lawyer. You got to know how pissy he's going to get when something's incorrect. You know this, Seth. You know how many lawyers have been pissed off by one piece of content. So
look, and that's right. And look, that's the question, right? Because I could sit with Alex on the couch right now, right? The lawyers that don't like any content. My law partner literally could rewrite his own briefs from a year ago if I put it in front of him. He wouldn't even notice and rewrite.
Right, he wouldn't know.
Right. And then the people don't look at anything, right? So I guess they wouldn't care as much. But we care about, Ken, making sure that Google loves it, because as long as Google is still king, we need to make sure. And look, this is the part I thought, and I think I'm wrong on it, but the idea that Google's going to actually have a checker to see what's AI versus not AI, but what they
don't care anymore.
Well, they care in that the last 2-3 years about high quality content.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't care if it's AI or not, as long as it's high quality.
Right. Is it high quality? But the problem is, like, one of the fictions we deal with, and you've asked me this a number of times, like, Seth, why should Google care if you have the same content for 20 different counties in a state? The state law is the same. We've had this conversation. So AI would be the best thing ever to replicate it for all these different locations. The problem is they're pulling out of a finite universe, whether it be, whatever it is. So at some point, it will be repetitive. We don't feel it because we're like, wow, this is brilliant. But we would feel that if I went to one of Alex's clients and read their webpage, I'm like, this is brilliant. You still can't copy it onto your site. So it's first getting it good enough, and then second, having the assumption that the universe, so pictures, right? Everyone's all excited. We can make Ken beautiful. Ken could be a Ken doll, but if they're pulling the graphic images to make the new Ken off of trademarked or copyrighted material, that's a whole other world that we're about to step into.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Man, great. We could talk about this all day long. Well, I'm super stoked for May. I forgot it was like right around the corner for us to be in New Orleans together. We were just together at Mass Torts Made Perfect last week, had a great lunch, great conversation, which is what pivoted us to doing and prompted this call, which is great. I think we should do more of these. I think the combination of 3 different perspectives is absolutely intelligent for all the lawyers, for any other marketers that are out there. We'd love to have more conversations, but I'm stoked, man. New Orleans, and I got to give it to you, Ken, since 2010, you've been an integral part of the relationship with our company and us gaining clients, vendors out there. If you have not signed up for PELMA, this is a conference that, and even if you're not a vendor, if you go and pay the price as a lawyer, one of the mastermind, whatever angle you take to attend PELMA, it is going to be your stepping stone to the next one. And I'm gonna call out all the masterminds who are out there. My first mastermind was Ben Glass. Shortly after Ben Glass, my boy Ken Hardison. Ken Hardison launched all these different masterminds that now one lawyer has, another lawyer has, another lawyer has over here. All of them started from this dude. He was the root. They all created branches from it. If you want to learn and get into a group of people and start launching yourself, call my boy.
And I'm going to be much more superficial because I've been to I've been a PILMA groupie since Atlanta, but which goes back to right around 2010. I think the second-ish PILMA. Yeah. But to be able to get with this many smart people, and you walk around the room, and you'll see guys that are like, $100 million firms, multi-$100 million firms, walking with guys who just started. The sharing in there and the openness, great. Ritz-Carlton in New Orleans for a couple $100 a night. You still have rooms left?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me,
I love that you got the whole hotel.
Yeah. First time we ever did it, but we decided to go for it.
I mean, to be in New Orleans with the hotel itself is this just gorgeous place with amazing gumbo, great learning and sharing.
The oysters, you got to have the oysters.
And to me, like the PILMA as a home base for people, for people like myself who don't want to be in court and who want to build our business, most places you go and it's like a track or a class, but the idea that you get nothing but the best and brightest thinking and working on how to build your firm up, to me, it's always been a gift.
Thank you. You guys are way too kind, but I appreciate it. But we do try to give value. We try to give value, and I will brag about one thing. We've had a money back guarantee since 2009. Anybody goes to the summit after the first day, I'll give them their money back. Plus, it used to be $5,000 documented travel costs, and I've never had nobody ask for the money back in 14 years. Well, 14 years. This will be the 15th year.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, we can't wait to be there. A lot of look, it'll be all the fundamentals that are there. But what I love about this year is it's going to be forward facing and thinking about what's next. Yeah. Because every law firm needs to be there. And again, it's not like it is not like if you're not there right now, it's too late. We're just at the infancy. I remember being part of the early .com bubble, and to think about what was going on in the mid to later 90s compared to now. It's just remarkable. So let's make sure we strike while the iron's hot. Well, thank you very much, Ken and Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I hope this is the first of many, but it's a lot of fun having all this brain power on one podcast and syndicating it out through all these amazing channels.
All right, my friends. Y'all have a good day.
Very good. We'll see you at the summit.
All right. See you there.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.